Marco is one of the individuals controlling 60% of the criminal market in Brazil, responsible for some of the largest bank heists across multiple countries. However, these aren't just small street gangs fighting for control of a few neighborhoods. These gangs control entire cities, running empires worth billions of dollars and leaving a trail of destruction everywhere. They have changed the rules of crime, expanded their influence to different continents, corrupted governments, and silenced anyone who dares to stand in their way. If you want to learn more about powerful criminal organizations like Macro and their global influence, don't forget to like, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any exciting videos. And don't forget, if you enjoyed it, comment with 0, and if you shared the video, hit 1. MS-13, also known as Mara Salvatrucha, evolved from a street gang in Los Angeles in the 1980s and has now become one of the most feared criminal organizations in the world. Founded by Salvadoran immigrants fleeing war, MS-13 originally had one goal: to protect their community from the existing gangs in Los Angeles. However, over time, their influence spread not only across the United States, but also into Central America, with criminal activities such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, and brutal murders. MS-13 is notorious for its brutality, using machetes as their primary weapon to maintain control and instill fear. A notable example of their savagery occurred in a series of murders between 2016 and 2017 in New York, where 3 senior members of MS-13 targeted individuals they suspected to be rivals. One of the infamous leaders of MS-13, Aryan, also known as Funny, was sentenced to 60 years in prison for his involvement in a series of murders. He showed no remorse, highlighting the ruthless nature of this gang. With an estimated 30,000 to 50,000 members worldwide, MS-13 has left a terrifying mark of violence from the United States to Europe. Barrio 18, also known as the 18th Street Gang, was founded in the 1960s in Los Angeles. What sets Barrio 18 apart from other gangs is that they do not restrict membership based on ethnicity and welcome anyone who wants to join, which helped the gang grow rapidly. Barrio 18 has become one of the largest street gangs in Los Angeles and is now expanding beyond California, with a widespread presence in both the United States and Central America. Members of Barrio 18 engage in a variety of criminal activities such as drug trafficking, murder, and extortion. What makes Barrio 18 stand out is the strict code of conduct that members must adhere to. Loyalty is the most important factor, and anyone who violates this will face horrific consequences. The gang views its members as family, willing to sacrifice for one another. The phrase, "This is my family, these are the people I die for and live for," is their motto, reflecting the brutality and unwavering commitment to the gang's rules. The violent culture and strict discipline of Barrio 18 have helped cement the gang's reputation, making it one of the most feared criminal organizations in the world. Their fierce competition with other gangs has escalated the level of violence, especially in the areas where they operate. The territorial wars between gangs have led to numerous casualties and are a key factor in the high murder rates in several Central American countries. Barrio 18's ability to quickly recover and easily recruit new members continues to make them a significant challenge for law enforcement across the Americas. CJNG, Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, is one of the most powerful criminal organizations in Mexico, emerging as a major threat with unprecedented strength and brutality. Founded around 2009-2010, CJNG quickly developed from the remnants of the Millennium Cartel. Under the leadership of Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, the cartel has not only built its power through violence, but also expanded its influence into various criminal sectors, including drug trafficking, extortion, kidnapping, and even controlling the local economy by infiltrating legitimate businesses. The rapid growth of CJNG is marked by its expansion into 24 out of Mexico's 32 states, with a global drug trafficking network spanning the United States, Europe, and even Asia. What sets CJNG apart is its military-like organizational structure, employing sophisticated tactics, heavy weaponry, and armored vehicles. They have even deployed drones and grenades against their enemies, showcasing a level of sophistication in combat that not many criminal organizations possess. The Sinaloa Cartel, headquartered in the state of Sinaloa, Mexico, has long been recognized as one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world. Founded in the late 1980s, Sinaloa quickly rose to dominance through its involvement in drug trafficking and brutal violence. Key figures such as Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and Ismael El Mayo Zambada expanded the cartel's influence by forming strategic alliances and employing creative smuggling methods. The Sinaloa Cartel has controlled many important drug trafficking routes into the United States and expanded into other global markets. Although Guzman was captured and extradited to the United States, Sinaloa did not weaken, but instead maintained its strong operations through a decentralized structure. The cartel's activities have contributed to the violence and instability in Mexico, undermining local government power and fueling the opioid crisis in the United States, especially through the distribution of fentanyl. As soldiers trained for war, Los Zetas began their journey in the criminal underworld as an elite group of warriors. Their brutality and discipline in their actions made them one of the most formidable opponents in the gang wars of Mexico. Los Zetas became one of the most violent criminal organizations in history, not only engaging in drug trafficking, but also completely altering the brutal rules of the criminal world. Their story began in the late 1990s, when 34 members of Mexico's special forces decided to desert and join the Gulf Cartel. With their military training, they quickly distinguished themselves and established a strong position in the criminal world, eventually forming the Los Zetas cartel. Initially, the group primarily acted as an enforcement arm for the Gulf Cartel. However, they revolutionized criminal activity by applying paramilitary tactics and ruthless violence, making them a force to be reckoned with. In 2010, Los Zetas broke away from the Gulf Cartel and became an independent organization. They expanded their operations to 17 Mexican states, while also venturing into other criminal activities such as human trafficking, extortion, and fuel theft. The reputation of Los Zetas grew rapidly, especially after the 2010 massacre of 72 migrants, a chilling testament to their brutality. The U.S. government labeled Los Zetas as one of the most dangerous and sophisticated criminal gangs in Mexico. However, their reign of terror also led to deep internal fractures, gradually weakening the organization. Eventually, key leaders like Miguel Angel Trevino Morales, known as Zed 40, were captured in the mid-2010s, marking a major setback for the cartel. Although the influence of Los Zetas has diminished, their brutal legacy remains a haunting reminder of how power can corrupt and violence can spiral out of control. Trendy Ara began its criminal career in the late 2000s at Venezuela's Tacaran prison, where it was led by Hector Nino Guerrero Flores. Initially, the group focused on extorting inmates and controlling internal prison matters. However, as Venezuela's political and economic situation became increasingly tense, the gang seized the opportunity presented by the mass migration of millions of people and expanded its operations across South America. The crimes of Trendy Ara include drug trafficking, human trafficking, extortion, and robbery, with their influence spreading to countries such as Peru, Chile, and Colombia. Not limited to Latin America, the gang has also expanded its presence in major U.S. cities, including Miami, New York, and Chicago. Trendy Ara's infiltration into U.S. communities has prompted authorities to issue warnings about the growing threat posed by this transnational criminal organization. In early 2025, the United States designated Trendy Ara as a foreign terrorist organization aiming to dismantle their financial networks and operations. This move underscores the severity of the threat and the need for coordinated global action to prevent the group's expansion. The rapid growth of Trendy Ara highlights how criminal organizations can evolve and adapt quickly. Combating such networks requires not only a robust law enforcement strategy, but also addressing the economic and social factors that fuel their rise. When talking about the most dangerous criminal organizations in the world, one cannot ignore Clandello, a notorious crime group in Colombia. This organization evolved from right-wing paramilitary groups and quickly became a major force in the criminal world. Clandello's activities span from drug trafficking to illegal mining and extortion, primarily in the Yoruba region of Antioquia. The gang holds significant influence in several provinces of Colombia, including Choco and Cordoba. With a vast and ruthless criminal network, Clandello remains a major threat to the security and stability of Colombia. The rise of this organization highlights how criminal groups can thrive in the context of political and economic instability, and how transnational crime can have a significant impact on countries both in the region and globally. The strategic alliance of international criminal organizations, such as Mexico's Sinaloa and Jalisco cartels, has helped solidify the position of these groups in the global drug trade. New generation gangs, like Dulo, not only stand out in the criminal field, but also demonstrate remarkable adaptability to any situation. Their leadership has seen many shifts, notably the capture of Dairo Antonio Usuga David, Otoniel, in 2021, which dealt a significant blow to the organization. However, like many resilient criminal organizations, Dulo has adapted and continued to operate. Their activities have not gone unnoticed. In December 2019, the U.S. Department of the Treasury sanctioned individuals and entities linked to the Dulo gang, aiming to weaken their financial network. Despite facing intense pressure, the group has continued to grow and maintain influence in a wide range of criminal activities. If you found this story interesting and want to learn more about other criminal organizations, don't forget to like, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. The Russian Mafia, or Bratva, is not just a mere criminal gang, but a powerful empire built on corruption, organized crime, and brutality. Originating from the Soviet Union, Bratva has evolved into one of the most dangerous and sophisticated criminal organizations in the world. But how did a group of former prisoners and black market smugglers rise to dominate globally? The collapse of the Soviet Union provided an opportunity for these individuals when there was no strong government to maintain order. They exploited this period of chaos to control everything from drug trafficking to arms smuggling, expanding their influence across Europe, the United States, and parts of Asia. Bratva operates like a Fortune 500 company, but instead of dealing in legal goods, they extort, assassinate, and defraud. They infiltrate governments, manipulate economies, and launder money through unquestioning banks. Their brutal actions ensure that anyone who breaks the rules faces severe punishment. The Russian Mafia enforces a strict discipline system with executions and kidnappings that send a chilling message: defy them, and you will pay the price. The big question remains: is there anyone who can stop this empire? The Aryan Brotherhood, one of the most notorious criminal gangs in the United States, was founded in 1964 at California's San Quentin State Prison. Initially, the alliance was formed to ensure the survival of white inmates amidst racial tensions within the prison. However, over time, the Aryan Brotherhood evolved into a dangerous criminal organization, not only operating inside prisons, but also extending its influence beyond society. Despite representing a small fraction of the total prison population, the gang holds significant power. The Aryan Brotherhood is involved in various serious criminal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and assassination. With their extremist ideology and brutal acts of violence, they have become one of the most dangerous organizations in the history of American criminal gangs. The existence and growth of the Aryan Brotherhood highlights how criminal organizations can sometimes originate from survival instincts and the need for self-protection in a harsh environment. However, as they expanded beyond prisons, they became a significant threat to both society and the legal system. They are involved in serious criminal activities such as drug trafficking, extortion, contract killings, and other violent acts. Law enforcement agencies have continuously worked to combat the growth of the AB, but the organization persists, expanding and building a transnational criminal network. Members of this organization are easily identifiable by distinctive tattoos, including symbols related to the Nazi regime, representing absolute loyalty to the group. A key part of this expansion was the emergence of the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, ABT, in the 1980s. ABT quickly became one of the most violent white supremacy extremist groups in Texas, and its influence spread to other states. This expansion made the Aryan Brotherhood a formidable adversary to law enforcement agencies and a true national criminal organization. The Crips are one of the most notorious gangs in the U.S., originating in the 1960s when a group of black youth in Los Angeles formed to protect their neighborhood from attacks and social conflicts. Initially, the group's intentions were noble, but as their numbers grew, they became a criminal organization involved in illegal activities. By 1978, the Crips had evolved into a network of smaller gangs spread across various areas of Los Angeles, and territorial disputes began to emerge. However, by 1979, the notable events of the death of Raymond Washington, the founder of the Crips, and the murder charges faced by Tookie Williams marked a significant turning point for the organization. With the rise of crack cocaine in the 1980s, the Crips expanded their drug trafficking activities, and their membership grew to tens of thousands. They not only operated in California, but also spread to other states, becoming a national criminal force. Mungiki has developed into one of the most feared criminal organizations in Kenya, known for its brutal actions and terrifying enforcement strategies. Founded in the late 1980s, Mungiki initially started as a movement among the Kikuyu youth to revive indigenous customs and traditions while opposing Western influences. However, over time, the group transformed and adopted extreme violent methods that instilled fear in both the community and its rivals. Additionally, women became the target of harsh practices, including female genital mutilation, a dangerous and unscientific ritual that is strictly enforced within their community. Mungiki is also believed to have formed alliances with political figures, exploiting their brutality to intimidate voters and suppress opponents during elections. Allegations surfaced that politicians used Mungiki as a tool of violence to gain political advantage, blurring the lines between government and crime. In 2002, the Kenyan government officially banned Mungiki and launched a severe crackdown, resulting in the arrest of thousands and numerous extrajudicial killings. However, with an extensive network and strong influence, Mungiki continues to exist and remains a significant threat to Kenyan society. The Bandidos, founded in 1966 in Texas, are not just a motorcycle club, but also a notorious criminal organization with a global reputation. The gang quickly grew and expanded its operations not only in the U.S., but also in several other countries, including Europe, Australia, and South America. The Bandidos are known for their involvement in drug and weapons trafficking, as well as deadly turf wars with rival gangs like the Hells Angels. One of the notable events was the brutal shootout between the Bandidos and the Cassacks gang in Waco, Texas, in 2015, which sparked a wave of tension within the motorcycle club community. The global expansion of the Bandidos led to continuous violent clashes, leaving a trail of bodies and forcing law enforcement agencies to constantly combat the organization. Despite ongoing crackdowns, the Bandidos have maintained a strong underground empire, and opposing them is seen as a deadly mistake, showcasing the gang's influence and resilience. Los Trinitarios, founded in the 1990s within New York's prisons, is one of the most brutal and dangerous street gangs in the U.S. Initially established as a brotherhood to protect inmates, the group later expanded beyond prison walls and became an extremely violent criminal organization. Despite not focusing on drug trafficking like many other gangs, Los Trinitarios gained notoriety for their brutal machete attacks, a weapon they used to kill during internal conflicts. One of their most notorious crimes was the murder of teenager Landro Jr. in the Bronx in 2018, which shocked the entire U.S. due to the gang's brutal and savage nature. In addition to their violence, Los Trinitarios are involved in drug trafficking, human trafficking, and robbery. The gang recruits young members by promising protection and loyalty, only to trap them in a cycle of crime and violence. Despite efforts by authorities to suppress them, Los Trinitarios remain a powerful and hard-to-eradicate force. Red Command, Comando Vermelho, is one of the most powerful criminal organizations in Brazil, originating in the 1970s within the prison system of Rio de Janeiro. Initially, the group consisted of political prisoners and regular criminals, but it quickly evolved into a highly influential criminal organization within Brazilian society. In the 1980s, as Brazil transitioned to democracy, Comando Vermelho shifted its focus to drug trafficking, particularly cocaine. By 1985, the organization controlled around 70% of the drug market in the slums of Rio. Despite facing competition from rival factions such as Terceiro Comando and Amigos dos Amigos, Red Command maintained its dominance and expanded its operations beyond Brazil's borders, becoming an international criminal organization with a transnational drug trafficking network. With their brutality and widespread influence, Red Command continues to be a major challenge for law enforcement and one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the world. In addition to their prominent criminal activities in Brazil, the Comando Vermelho, or Red Command, has infiltrated the Amazon regions of Colombia and Peru, where they collaborate with local criminal groups. Their illegal activities, such as mining, logging, and drug trafficking, not only escalate violence but also cause severe environmental damage. This criminal network is contributing to the degradation of the rainforest regions while maintaining control through territorial battles and massive criminal alliances. Primeiro Comando da Capital, PCC, of Brazil, founded in 1993 in a prison in São Paulo, is one of the most notorious and brutal criminal gangs in the world. Initially, PCC was just a group formed to protect each other in the harsh criminal environment of the prison. However, the gang's brutality quickly extended beyond the prison walls, evolving into a criminal empire with terrifying power. In the 2000s, PCC organized large-scale coordinated attacks in São Paulo, setting buses on fire and paralyzing the entire city, forcing the Brazilian government to negotiate with the gang to restore order. This organization is not just a criminal group, but also functions like an underground government, enforcing its own laws and punishing those who violate its rules. Today, PCC controls a large portion of the cocaine trade in Brazil and has expanded into neighboring countries like Paraguay and Bolivia. Their network extends even further to Europe and Africa, where they continue to commit crimes with brutal discipline and relentless control. The Andrangetta, a mafia organization originating from Calabria, Italy, has evolved into one of the most powerful criminal families in the world. Unlike other mafia organizations, the strength of Andrangetta lies in its tightly knit family structure, which fosters strong unity and absolute loyalty among members. This makes it extremely difficult for law enforcement agencies to infiltrate the organization. The Andrangetta not only dominates the cocaine market in Europe, but is also involved in other criminal activities such as arms trafficking, money laundering, and extortion. Notably, the organization has infiltrated numerous legitimate industries, thereby increasing its power and influence. Recently, investigations have uncovered Andrangetta control over football clubs in Milan and businesses surrounding the stadium, highlighting the organization's deep penetration into economic and social sectors. The United Bamboo Gang, originating in Taiwan in the 1950s, has evolved into a powerful international criminal empire involved in various criminal activities such as drug trafficking, extortion, and political influence. Although starting as a small group, by the 1980s, United Bamboo expanded globally, establishing criminal ties with major crime families in Hong Kong, Japan, and even the United States. The gang is not only involved in drug trafficking, but also has close connections to arms trading, cybercrime, and illegal gambling. One of their notable activities includes carrying out high-profile assassinations, including politicians in Taiwan, demonstrating their willingness to use violence to achieve their goals. The gang also has strong ties to elections and politics, using its influence to sway election results and control legitimate businesses, thereby reinforcing the organization's power. With around 10,000 members, the United Bamboo Gang remains a dangerous and ruthless global force, nearly impossible to stop by any authorities. These criminal organizations all have tightly structured hierarchies and global operations, reflecting the brutality and complexity of modern criminal empires. Despite strong international law enforcement efforts to combat them, these gangs continue to exist and even expand, posing significant challenges to global security. It seems like you're summarizing a segment from a video about the United Bamboo Gang and other criminal organizations. Indeed, the United Bamboo Gang stands out for its tight organization and absolute loyalty among members, making anyone who opposes or betrays them likely to face a tragic fate. These factors further increase their danger and influence globally. If you enjoy this type of content, I'd be happy to help you find more information about other gangs or criminal organizations or discuss related topics. Thanks for sharing, and see you next time.